or any child anywhere in the world, we must find a path to a ceasefire now and just now. Pakistan firmly supports Ladies and gentlemen, Pakistan firmly supports the demand of the Palestinian people for the establishment of a sovereign Palestinian state with pre-1967 borders and Al-Quds Sharif as its capital. Palestine can no longer remain under Israeli shackles. It must be liberated, and liberated with full commitment and with full force. Excellencies, the plight of the Palestinian people is one of the most heart-wrenching tragedies of our times. This prolonged injustice is a stain on the global conscience and our collective moral failure. For nearly 80 years, the Palestinians have courageously endured Israel's brutal occupation of their homeland in the West Bank. Each passing day brings new brutality, illegal settlers who terrorize and kill with impunity, and nobody can challenge them and question them. And in Gaza, Israel's genocidal onslaught has unleashed unspeakable terror upon women and children in a manner we have not witnessed in annals of history. In blind pursuit of its nefarious goals, the Israeli leadership has unleashed a shameful campaign against the innocent Palestinians, which history will always remember as one of its darkest chapters. But speak we must, Madam President, we must speak, and speak loud and clear. Our words are too little, too late for Hind Rajab, a child, nay, a little baby. We have all heard her trembling voice on that phone call, which little Hind made as she struggled to stay alive under Israeli onslaught and atrocities. Can you imagine that little girl, Hind Rajab, as if she was our daughter? Can you imagine not having the compassion to spare her life? My agony and the agony of the entire Muslim Ummah, indeed, I think, the agony of all the nations on the planet is that we failed Hind Rajab, and she will not forgive us in this world and the world hereafter. As they say, ladies and gentlemen, the smallest coffins are the heaviest to carry. I, for one, would know, for I too carried the tiny coffin of a 7-year-old Irtiza Abbas during the recent confrontation with India. He was only 6 years old. Therefore, we cannot and we must not fail these children of Gaza or any child anywhere in the world. We must find a path to a ceasefire now and just now. Pakistan firmly supports Ladies and gentlemen, Pakistan firmly supports the demand of the Palestinian people for the establishment of a sovereign Palestinian state with pre-1967 borders and Al-Quds Sharif as its capital. Palestine can no longer remain under Israeli shackles. It must be liberated, and liberated with full commitment and with full force. Excellencies, as far as Pakistan is concerned, we were among the first to recognize Palestinian statehood in 1988. And now we welcome the recognition of the state of Palestine by a number of countries recently around the globe, and urge others to also follow suit, because time and tide wait for none. We are further grateful for President Trump's timely initiative to invite Arab Islamic states 3 days ago here in this building for a consultative session at the United Nations. And I was also part of that consultative process. And I think, and I hope and pray to God that it has rekindled hope for a ceasefire in the nearest future, for which the credit must again be attributed to President Trump for this peace initiative. Excellencies, Israel's recent attack on Doha and its continued violations of the sovereignty and territorial integrity of numerous countries is reflective of its rogue behavior. Pakistan stands unwaveringly with our brothers and sisters in Qatar. We also support all efforts for a peaceful resolution of the Ukraine conflict in line with the UN Charter to end human sufferings and global turmoil caused by this protracted war. Madam President, Pakistan condemns terrorism in all its forms and manifestations. For over 2 decades, Pakistan has been at the front line of global counter-terrorism efforts, having suffered over 90,000 people. We lost 90,000 people of our country, babies, children, mothers, sisters, brothers, elderly people, doctors, engineers, and also suffered economic loss of $150 billion. Please tell me, put your hand on your heart, that what can be a bigger manifestation of our commitment to fight terrorism and erase it not only from the face of Pakistan, but from the face of this global world. And I believe a man killed in New York is a man killed in Lahore. A man killed in Islamabad is a man killed in London. It's a global village. So I think unless and until terrorism is defeated hands down, this world will not be a peaceful place to live. And for that, Pakistan's sacrifices are probably the biggest around the globe. It must be respected and appreciated, because we are a bulwark. Had these terrorists not been encountered by us, they would have been roaming on the streets of New York and London and God knows Far East. So I think this is our humble contribution, not only for the people of Pakistan, but the people all over the world. Today we face externally sponsored terrorism, particularly from foreign-funded groups such as the TTP, Fitna al-Khawarij, Fitna al-Hindustan, BLA, and its Majid Brigade. Operating from Afghan soil, these groups are responsible for some of the most heinous attacks inside Pakistan, including the dastardly Jafar Express train incident earlier this year, the train was hijacked and 400 people were kept for days and weeks. And mercifully, by Allah Almighty's grace, our armed forces and law enforcing agencies were able to recover them. Now, as an immediate neighbor and a brotherly country of Afghanistan, Pakistan has a direct stake in a peaceful Afghanistan. We believe that the key to development and prosperity lies in regional stability and connectivity. Pakistan continues to engage with all partners to extend humanitarian assistance, promote economic recovery, and encourage inclusive political framework in Afghanistan. The interim Afghan government must, however, uphold human rights, including women's rights. Above all, we expect that Afghan interim government to take effective action against terrorist groups and to ensure that Afghan soil is not used for terrorism against any country. Ladies and gentlemen, there must be no space for hate speech, discrimination or violence against any person or against any religion. hate-driven ideologies such as India's Hindutva-driven extremism pose a danger to the entire world. While there is growing recognition of the dangers posed by Islamophobia, the imperative of effectively combating this menace can hardly be overemphasized. Pakistan welcomes the appointment of a UN Special Envoy to combat this scourge. Ladies and gentlemen, while we are confronted with the climate crisis, it demands the most urgent collective action. In 2022, Pakistan faced massive floods of humongous proportions that caused huge losses amounting to $34 billion and many valuable lives lost. This year again, we are dealing with another mega flood with thousands of villages washed away from the face of the earth, millions of people displaced, more than 1,000 killed, and billions of dollars of crop, livestock and property washed away, lost to flood waters. Our nation stands united in these testing times, and we are dealing with this natural calamity with remarkable resilience by the grace of God. I have declared a climate emergency to cope with this challenge. The catastrophic floods of 2022 and 2025 this year are glaring examples of loss and damage caused due to climate change. Pakistan, to the contrary, my honorable guests in this hall and through the cameras around the globe, Pakistan contributes less than 1% of global emissions annually, yet it continues to face the relentless brunt and muddy waves of climate change. And then we are told to borrow loans and add on to our debt, huge debt pillars we have over the period of time. This is not fairness. This is not equality. This is not justice. This is not fair play. How can you expect a country which is a developing country facing humongous flood challenges every year due to climate change and no fault of ours, and yet we are told to borrow more loans? I think borrowing loan would be destroying your economy. We will be better off than not borrowing loan and standing on our own feet, working hard, tirelessly, blood and sweat, and we will, inshallah, make Pakistan a great country, inshallah. Ladies and gentlemen, while we deal with climate change, I bear good tidings on the domestic economic front. Socio-economic development and the welfare of our people are among my government's foremost priorities. We have successfully implemented deep-rooted structural macroeconomic reforms, modernized and broadened our taxation system, intensified efforts to mobilize productive investment, and embraced digitization, AI, and crypto as the tools of the future. Strategic partnerships, including our all-weather cooperation with China through the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor under President Xi Jinping's landmark Belt and Road Initiative, are contributors to our progress as I speak. I admire the vision and foresight of President Xi Jinping, whose recently launched Global Governance Initiative, along with other global initiatives, offers a comprehensive framework for a more just, fair and inclusive development. Excellencies, as a non-permanent member of the UN Security Council, Pakistan is playing its constructive role in conflict prevention.